Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Henson, President and Founder of AgileDad, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Standup. So without any further ado, let's get started. I wanted to talk to you today about a topic that we often overlook from a product ownership perspective. I wanted to talk to you about elements of the definition of ready. And I wanted to give you, something that is specific regarding the definition of ready, because I feel like it's not exclusively a Scrum term, but it's just more of something that people have put into place in order to make sure that a backlog item is ready to go into a sprint, or in order to determine if a feature is ready to go into a release, or if a product is ready to be worked on in a roadmap. So I think there are some elements of ready that need to be met. But today I want to focus on 5 elements that talk about the product backlog and having a definition of ready for items that come into the product backlog. Many organizations struggle with technical debt by not having well-defined, well-refined, well-groomed backlogs. So I thought this would be a good opportunity for us to hit that topic, address it, and make sure that we're all focused so that we could see what a true definition of ready might look like. So first and foremost, the item for the product backlog must have a clear description that's understood by all members. I'm going to take that one step further and say that we should be following Bill Wake's elements of invest. We need to make sure the item is independent, that's negotiable, valuable, estimable, sized appropriately, and testable. If we're following invest, I think that's really going to help us to have a solid backlog item, something that's easily consumed and something that's good to work on. So the item shouldn't be overly complex. The description should be brief and to the point. If you're doing BDDs or using a Gherkin model for your given when then acceptance criteria, you want to make sure you don't have more than a couple of scenarios. And you want to make sure you don't have any extended list of thens, that cause it to be difficult to test or difficult to automate in a testing environment. You want to make sure that the item itself is clear and that the acceptance criteria is clear. Second, the description should contain some sort of value in the description, right? A purpose and desired outcome need to be communicated clearly so that everyone looks at it and sees not only what needs to be done, but why is it important? Why is it something that we need to tackle right away? And why is it something that we should really focus our attention on? Third, the item should have completed testing and acceptance criteria. This is the weakest point for most places. It's true. We need to make sure that we are really digging in and putting together solid acceptance criteria that makes sense so that anyone could look at these items and say, hey, that's meaningful to me. I know how I'm going to test it. I know what it's trying to do. And also so that when we blur the lines between testing and development, instead of throwing the ball over the fence or doing a volleyball thing, it's important for us to have a solid definition of ready so that testers can be prepared to test and maybe even set test criteria to fail before we even begin work on building the item. That's going to help us set up for TDD and ATDD, which I think is incredibly important. It's test-driven design and acceptance test-driven development. Also, you want to make sure that once you put these items in, that you do have them in some sort of rank order. Now, a lot of people will do this based on just priority, which I find is kind of scary, right? I think that I like to look at things based on risk, necessity, and strategic value to the organization. So if you look at those 3 things and you size the items appropriately and you get everything in there, it should be easy to triangulate and create a formula that'll give you an objective stack rank that can easily be tweaked later, whether it's for a sprint or whether it's for a release. You can do this in hundreds of items. This is the part that's actually easy, but it should be something that we need to make sure we focus on. And finally, we need to eliminate time from our estimates. We need to use story point estimation. And I think that's a solid way. Now, one of the things that I encourage most teams to do is to start off using t-shirt size. And the reason I do that is so that the number doesn't become deceptive. I don't want leadership or anyone else to say, oh, that's a 3. 3 what? Because then it invites the question and it invites a further explanation. Where if we just agree that it's medium or small, if someone asks medium what, you can say medium in effort compared to everything else we're working on. And it's pretty solid. If someone asks, when's it going to be done? You can say, it's planned tentatively right now to fall on sprint 5, which will end on this day. What happens if it's late? Well, then it'll go into sprint 6, which ends on this day. Well, how long is it going to take? Well, we don't know because we don't know exactly which developer worked on it and what their level of experience is. So it just gives you an opportunity to answer the questions honestly and forthright. And it allows you to create a solid definition of ready that both the product owner can understand, the team can understand, the testers can comprehend, and it makes all of your items easily consumable. Simple topic for today. Keep it short and sweet. I hope this information was useful to you. As always, we encourage you to tune in to the AgileDad Daily Stand-Up Podcast. Tell your friends and neighbors about it. If you have an idea of something that you want to be covered, feel free to reach out to us at learn more at agiledad.com. We'd love to hear your ideas. We'd love to get it on a stand up. And, as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.